Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with attorney Brian D. Lerner. I have some other videos on different parts of funding the trust, but I'd like to talk about, in particular, an issue regarding real property. There are a lot of times, in fact more times than not, that somebody will come in, married couple, whomever, and they'll say, well, we have a house we own, and we want to, do a living trust, and we want to put the house in the living trust, and eventually we want it to go to our son or daughter. And so what I do is I go through a whole spiel of questions, and then I ask them to give me a copy of their deed of trust. And of course, if they don't have it, I can pull it, but I ask them to give me a copy. I look at it, and it says to the effect, Joe and Mary, so-and-so, and the title that the property is held is not as community property, but it is held in joint tenancy. So, it's worded differently, and even sometimes with community property, it's worded with right to survivorship. So there's a couple things. It'll be, their names, Joe and Mary Slater, husband and wife, held as a joint tenancy, or Joe and Mary Slater, husband and wife, held as community property with right of survivorship. Okay, and what that means is that is a major problem like that to transfer it into the trust, because there are all different ways that property can pass to other people once you pass away that go through neither a trust nor a will. Okay, for example, you have life insurance, and there's a beneficiary on the life insurance. So regardless of whether you have a trust, a will, or anything at all, when you die, whoever's named as the beneficiary or beneficiaries gets the proceeds of the life insurance. Okay, well, same with joint tenancy with the real property. When it says joint tenancy, what that means is that when one of the tenants dies, it automatically, regardless of whether it's in a trust or not in a trust, will be transferred to the other person. So if the husband dies first, that means automatically the wife will then have 100% of the property. That's what joint tenancy means. So you can't put that property inside of a trust and designate where it's to go and how it's to go if it is listed as being a joint tenancy property. And by the same token, if it's community property with right of survivorship, it's the same thing. Whoever survives, that's why it says with right of survivorship. Whoever survives gets the whole property. So what I have to do normally is I have to make a deed which transfers the property from the joint tenancy title essentially to community property. Okay, so for example, it would be Mary and John Slater, husband and wife, as community property. Okay, that's it. So it transfers it, so it no longer is held with a joint tenancy or with right of survivorship, but it is held just as community property. If it's held as initially as community property with right of survivorship, the new deed takes it out of the right of survivorship and just puts it as community property. Then, once that deed's recorded, then I can take that deed and now properly transfer the property into the living trust without a problem. So it's a two-step process. That's why I always have to see the deeds prior to transferring in to make sure it can properly be transferred. So if you like the video, click like, click subscribe, and you can go ahead and give my office a call. I'll be happy to give you an initial free consultation. Okay, more on the coming videos.